What is actually MapleStory Universe ecosystem, and what's like the big vision behind it?
MapleStory Universe is basically a Web3 project brought to you by Nexon. We are here to build a long-lasting universe where entertainment is always prioritized over speculation. Maybe it's one thing that makes us set apart.
Let's talk about the NXPC. A lot of people don't know what NXPC is. So
First of all, from day one, we made a conscious decision not to allocate any NXPC to any of the VCs. What they might not realize is it's not final destination. It's only the first chapter in a much bigger plan. I often tweet about how little people know about our project. I really want to tell them quite a lot of different stuff. But we are
welcome, beautiful people around the world. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Yukin, and today this is the very first episode of Level Up. This is one of the series out here that I really interested into trying out, and hopefully that you guys enjoyed as well. Getting creators, founders, chains, anyone in Web3 and Web2 as well to come onto this. Well, this is the very first episode. I'm very excited to talk with MapleStory as my very first guest on this episode, and I'm very excited to talk with Dominic.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you coming on to this interview and being able to talk about MapleStory, your whole ecosystem and everything about it. You know, even some alpha that I think that we're going to be sharing as well on this interview, and I would love to dive into it as well. All right, let's kick off with those who don't know or are new to this as well. So what is actually MapleStory Universe ecosystem, and what's like the big vision behind it?
MapleStory Universe is basically a Web3 project brought to you by Nexon, bringing MapleStory IP that has been very much live for the last 23 years with 250 million users worldwide, more than $5 billion in lifetime revenues. So it's huge. And MapleStory Universe is basically Nexon's next generation blockchain ecosystem built on, the iconic MapleStory IP, designed to evolve gaming from a closed developer-controlled model into an open and player-driven economy. So we are bringing decentralized ownership, user-generated contents, UGC, and interoperable game assets all together to create a sustainable and collaborative Web3 native entertainment platform. So MapleStory Universe enables players to truly own, trade, and utilize their in-game assets across multiple applications within the ecosystem. By the way, we are not just one game, although we are launching our project with our core game called MapleStory N.
Ooh.
And through its token system, NXPC, and dynamic mechanics like fission and fusion, players can influence the game's economy based on real-time demand and participation rather than developer-controlled supply. And here's the big vision of MSU. We are here to build a long-lasting universe, where entertainment is always prioritized over speculation. Maybe it's one thing that makes us sets us apart from, I guess more than 90% of what's happening in the crypto industry.
Right.
And, it's where players actually become, stakeholders, creators, and, collaborators. They're the leaders, they're the drivers of the ecosystem. And, obviously game assets, all the things that they own have, real world value, utility, as well as permanence. And we're not here as a sole operator, but one of many contributors in a decentralized ecosystem. So basically, we are redefining how games are made, owned, and evolved, shaping a future where creativity, ownership, and community drive long-term value of our project.
May 15th was when we get our hands on MapleStory Universe, and I'm excited. We're going to be streaming it live on my channel, and also all other people out there are really excited about this. So, but yeah, so like I said, MapleStory is such an iconic IP, but like what inspired the move to build MSU in Web3, and how did the team go about shaping that experience?
I don't really tell this quite a lot everywhere, but I think it's very interesting to have another person to know about our um, less known background of our project. So we actually didn't start this project because we wanted to do something on blockchain. We were basically, I mean, just like other leading game companies, obviously, we are always thinking about what's going to be the next big thing, right? And obviously, one of the things that we had to, give a very deep thought was about game economy. What's going to be the next, for example, free to play? What's going to be the very game model or business model even to attract new users? Um, while we were thinking, we realized that we have to think out of the box. Um, because Nexon was the inventor of free-to-play business model more than 20 years ago and converted every game that Nexon was servicing into the same business model.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
Your
We
excuse.
knew more than anyone. We knew better than anyone that we need another growth engine to promise the next 30 years or even 50 years of Nexon. And what was happening outside of game economy, like in a micro level of each game that Nexon was servicing, um, we were observing TV stations were losing their audience to YouTube, TikToks, or even other and other streaming platforms. And we knew more. We also knew better than anyone that game companies like us weren't immune to that very trend, and that was happening because now everyone is building their own appetite to build it. They have their own definition of what is fun, what is entertaining, um, and we realized that we might have to open up. We might have to come up with more innovative, think out of the box, or breaking the entire paradigm kind of, thinking in order to, be, I guess, in order to survive in this, changing world. So we came up with an idea where we are going to build an ecosystem by inviting all the developers and creators that are out there who are willing to work with MapleStory IP. And we knew this has very high demand because even in the Web2 MapleStory economy, we have been seeing lots of developers who would build, even if we didn't even ask, build something for the community. And some of the services that they have come up with were insanely creative, insanely useful, and some of them are even maintaining lots of users. So, you know, we were bringing that very concept and demand to Web3, and we wanted to give the strongest linkage of, among those developers as well as us as a platform. So basically, we try to position ourselves as a platform, and we were opening up our IP, and we are also providing tools as well as rules to make sure that they are also operating under the same initiative to create the value that is in the same direction of our vision. So this And in order to make it happen, we were, very much convinced that the blockchain is the fundamental layer, technological layer that we had to integrate to make sure everyone is connected and in the most transparent way. And in order to give the right value or the how can I say, in order to bring in the market dynamics into the economy. And blockchain was just the right decision, and the Web3 was the way to go.
From hearing from the experiences from what you had in Web 2, and now being able to give those people that have been around in that community for so long, and now they're getting that opportunity to feel like they have ownership and they have that support from you guys, is really amazing. And just so happy to talk about the next thing that you guys had mentioned as well is the NXPC. And shout out to you guys. You guys got onto the Binance just literally today. Got announced as on to be on Binance. So that is amazing. Congratulations on that.
It's a Binance Alpha, so a bit different, but still, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's still like a big thing, that you still kind of, are on there. I think that's still a great thing. But yeah, let's talk about the NXPC. You guys had the announcement today, which was really awesome. But a lot of people don't know what NXPC is. So like, what makes this token sustainable in the long run, and how is it designed to be community first?
First of all, from day one, we made a conscious decision not to allocate any NXPC to any of the VCs. No VCs, no private token rounds, and no early unlocks. That was very intentional. We didn't want short-term pressures or speculative capital dictating the direction of the project. Instead, we built a model that puts the community first at the center. And because they're the ones, as I mentioned, they're in the driver's seat. They are the ones who are creating the real value to the ecosystem. And about 80% of all NXPC tokens are reserved for, we would say, ecosystem contribution rewards. That means whether you are a player, a creator, or someone building apps and tools, inside the MapleStory universe, you earn tokens based on, how much you contribute. And that distribution follows a halving model like Bitcoin. So the rewards decrease over time as the ecosystem matures. That ensures early contributors are rewarded, but it also enforces long-term scarcity and sustainability. And so it works kind of like, bootstrapping, ecosystem bootstrapping kind of mechanism. And on top of that, the supply model itself is dynamic. We don't just mint tokens endlessly. Instead, we use a system called fission and fusion. Players exchange NXPC to redeem game assets, which are in NFTs. And when they want to exchange NFTs back, they go through fusion, which redistributes previously locked tokens. So everything is balanced, no unchecked inflation, no artificial manipulation. This is how, when I mentioned we are bringing in market dynamics to the ecosystem or a game economy, that's how that's what I try to say. And this economy adjusts based on what players are actually doing in the game. And most importantly, NXPC has real utility. It's not governance token just sitting in a wallet. It's used to redeem assets, power applications, pay for the gas fees in the ecosystem. And it also unlocks features across different games and tools. So you're not just holding it. You're basically you really have to keep using it. And you will also earn in that currency as well. And so in short, like NXPC is sustainable because it's earned, used, and limited. And the whole structure is designed to reward real participation, not speculation, which enables the ecosystem grow exponentially and in a more sustainable way. And that's how we're building a token or the token economy, that actually could make sure that we are the ones, one of the projects who lasts.
I love that you guys are thinking outside the box within this one because, again, overall, we've seen a lot of hype around, hype driven tokens in Web3. So, like, what separates NXPC in like terms of actual utility and in economic design?
So a lot of tokens out there are designed mainly for speculation or governance, with no real connection to how players actually interact with the game. And NXPC is actually the opposite. It's deeply embedded into the gameplay and the economy. So NXPC is the engine of the entire MapleStory Universe economy. Through the NXSpace protocol, players can redeem NXPC to get NFTs to game items, materials, and assets, and then exchange those NFTs back into NXPC depending on the market demand. So rather than developers minting items or tokens arbitrarily, everything is tied to what players are actually doing. It's organic, cyclical, as well as more importantly, demand driven. So this system prevents inflation because new NXPC isn't just handed out; it's locked from the pool through player action, and that's huge. Yeah, it means the economy is, this one self-regulates, which is something you just don't see in most traditional games or even other Web3 games. And on the utility side, NXPC also powers things like asset creation, in-app purchases, and developer tools inside the ecosystem, whether you are enhancing items in game or even out game, running a synergy apps or contributing to community content. NXPC is the currency that flows through all of it. So really, NXPC is different because it's earned through contribution, which makes sure the ecosystem keeps growing, and also used in many meaningful ways. And it's designed to hold its value, through economic logic, not artificial scarcity or hype. It's a token with actual purpose, not just price.
I honestly find a lot of value in your guys' videos lately. Those little shorts that you guys have been making on TikTok that actually been blowing up. Oh my god, those are absolutely fun. I love that you guys, their marketing on this game is absolutely amazing. You guys are understanding everything about the token aspect of it and how you guys are really designing it for that community aspect of it, where it's definitely going to be in the game and you guys have to earn it. It's not going to be like the other ones that we've seen before, which is really awesome, and I'm really excited about. I know that there was some alpha that that you guys would like to share on here, which is really awesome because my first episode, and I love alpha, and this is one of the things about I want to level up, and I'm hoping that people here level up as well with this alpha. So I know that we will see some more. Are we going to be seeing some more Nexon IPs leap into Web3 under the NextSpace protocol?
Most people know about MapleStory Universe as Nexon's first big move into Web3, but what they might not realize is it's not the final destination. It's only the first chapter in a much bigger plan. I often tweet about how little people know about our project. I really want to tell them quite a lot of different stuff, but I can't really tell them right now, right? So, but what we are building here with the NextSpace protocol is the foundation for a multi IP and interoperable kind of metaverse. So it's not just a single game, obviously. Think of it like, when an IP like MapleStory connects to NextSpace, it transforms into a full-fledged universe where digital ownership, open economies, and UGC thrives.
Mm.
That's what MSU is. But that same framework can and will be applied to other iconic Nexon IPs. We are talking about Nexon's other mega IPs out there.
Ooh.
Each will have its own universe, its own economy, and its own gameplay style, but they will all plug into the same protocol, NextSpace. And that means real interoperability. Everybody talks about interoperability, but usually there's no use of it.
Right.
You have, I mean, you can convert that to something else, but there's no use of it, right? So what's the alpha? The tech is already there. We're not just imagining shared economies, but rather we are building it. That means items earned in one game could carry additional value or utility in another. This isn't just a theory. It's in the architecture. We've proven it works with MSU, and now we're scaling it. MapleStory was just a start. If you are watching closely, you will start seeing hints of which IPs are, you know, um, going forward. Some are going to be obvious. Others will definitely surprise people, but all of them will follow the similar principle. Value is earned, not issued. And great games are built with communities, not just for them. That's where the real future of gaming is headed, and we're building it. You can really think of something like Ready Player One kind of, I would say, world. And I only mentioned about Nexon's IP, but there could be more.
Don't tease me with this alpha, man. I'm savoring through the mouth right now of all this great stuff. Oh man, I'm really excited. Like you talking about the Ready Player One. I think that's what we've always envisioned in
Right.
Web3. This is kind of like that interoperability. Being able to have multi games, multi IPs all in one. I mean, obviously we see it with Fortnite, right? That's one of the prime examples of what we see already with them pretty much taking everything. It seems like with them,
Yeah.
but they're very strategic. They're not taking everything. They're taking the biggest of everything.
Mhm.
Which is really exciting. But yeah, I mean, like you guys got decades of experience behind this, and like how's like the leadership and professionalism of like the next space team that's gonna try to help avoid the common mistakes that we see in that we've seen in less credible Web3 projects.
So a lot of Web3 teams today are still figuring out like how to build, how to actually build a game.
Mm.
NextSpace isn't one of them. This is a team backed by Nexon's 30 years of legacy. Most of the members here are coming from, you know, game development backgrounds. Some of them were directors, some of them were engineers. And if you actually, give it a thought or imagine for a while, like you could easily tell how many people or how many experts you actually need to come up with, you know, an awesome game. So this is a team that backed by 30 years of legacy, the company that basically invented the free-to-play model like I just mentioned, and we have pioneered online gaming globally. And what that gives us is real depth. We are talking about decades of experience building scalable virtual economies, a strong culture of long-term IP stewardship, and a proven track record of launching and running high-quality live service games that players stick with for like years. Like I'm talking about two-digit decades. So lastly but not least, our CEO, Sun Young, SY, brings proven leadership from his time as a director of MapleStory. He was one of the very directors of MapleStory in the past. And obviously, MapleStory is one of the most successful legacy MMORPGs to date. And with firsthand experience navigating the challenges of live game operations, usually his deep understanding of game management, is a major asset for building credibility and trust with Web3 gamers. So you've also have seen, how can I say, lots of corporate-backed projects. They start something Web3, but the entire team is coming from completely different background. It's quite often in large corporates, and we are probably, I can tell quite confidently, we are really different. The team is the, how can I say, collection of talents, top talents, even within the entire Nexon group. Um, I'm I feel very, very lucky every day that I'm working with one of the top class talents, in the entire, not just Web3 industry, but also in the gaming industry. And a lot of, new members are also joining from outside the organizations to add relevant values from their expertise. For example, myself, I have joined the team last year, um, and I actually come from investment banking background, finance background, or business building background, and I think it really tells you a lot of different things. We're not just building a game, but we are actually building an economy, and we have experts not just from gaming industry, but also from lots of different backgrounds, like finance, business, platforms, exchanges, etc., etc. So the team is thriving, and we are actively hiring a lot of top talents in the industry, whom we think will add specific values to the entire project.
If you haven't heard of MapleStory, I don't. You've been living under a rock in gaming because that has been around for so long. Even though it hasn't
Right.
really surfaced much over here in the states, like it's very much still prevalent. It's still a a game that people understand. They recognize. Oh, that's MapleStory when they see it. So hats off to you guys for consistently trying to find new ways to self elevate and always trying to find new ways where you guys are always going to stay on top. Lastly, what would you guys say to the long term MapleStory fans or traditional gamers who are curious but maybe hesitant about the MSU and the future that you guys are building with the game?
Basically, you think of it as a new MapleStory experience, your long-loved IP that you may have may feel nostalgic about, and there is a chance for you to be a ranker once again. But at the same time, that's not the end of the story. We are bringing out lots of new experience that you guys can do within our ecosystem. I believe if you are a long time MapleStory fans, you are old enough. You are, I guess, richer than when you first had your MapleStory experience. There is a new way for you to enjoy MapleStory IP. Um, we have tried our best to make the blockchain experience, as frictionless as possible. And this is coming from Web2 background UI UX designers. It's not Web3 degen UI UX design. So we are here for you. We have new contents that could cater your very needs. MapleStory N isn't the only experience that we are offering. There are lots of strategies that you can implement in your own way of playing, or in your that perfectly suits your situations. There could be more trading involved. There could be some idle kind of playing experience, but give it a try. Take a look, because this is the future that you don't want to miss.
Ooh, with a send off like that, I mean that's hey, I'm not missing anything. If you guys if you guys know me, if you guys know especially how this podcast grows, we try to level up and we're not missing anything. We here for the long term. So shout out to you guys. You guys have been putting so much work into this. What was the like the change with Avalanche? Because I'm an ambassador with Avalanche, so shout out to Avalanche. Appreciate you, Coop, and the dream out there, and all the ambassadors. But like what was like kind of the decision to go with Avalanche as like the ecosystem of chain that you chose to be a part of?
I mean, in order to make sure that we have a separate environment, other than being commingled with all different kinds of chains. So we needed a solution that provides enough tool sets as well as supports that make sure that we have one. And also because we were expecting, very high volumes. And so we needed, very good throughputs, to process. So we needed I mean, stability was actually the best priority when we were choosing a chain. So I mean, if you actually think about it, there aren't many options that are out there, and Avalanche came up with the right team, right solutions, right tool sets, right track records. Everything just made sense, and the team has been tremendously supportive about everything that we're doing, upon launch.
They are such a good team out there. I mean, I love obviously that's why I won one of the ambassadors with them as well. And they've been very supportive with my content and other content out there as well. Like people that really want to be a part of Avalanche, they definitely showcase those people out there and they give them so much love and support. And that's something that I can stand behind. I would love to get into one of the viewers' questions, and he's also a content creator as well, and he's kind of curious. His name is Imho, and Imho NFT, and he says that he's asking like, what about the loot? So he's saying that like the loot stays yours for life, like no wipes. So I'm essentially probably referring to it as like the loot in the game. Does that obviously stay with you for life, right? Like for instance, how the Web 2 side of things, you kind of keep that stuff with you, but is there going to be any wipes if there's like a new update, a new patch, or whatever like that, or maybe if you die, right? So kind of curious on what you guys are going to do with the loot.
As long as you mint
Mhm.
as NFTs, they are yours. Nobody can touch it, um, unless you give out all the you know private keys to someone else by mistake or intentionally. But they stay with you forever. And the end goal here is that we lose control of content updates. Um, we are basically inviting everyone to our ecosystem to beat us in
Mm.
terms of like users. If they, I mean, probably, I would say confidently that we have built a very successful ecosystem. If anyone else out there come up with a killer contents, that beat us in terms of, I guess, user attractions or uh, whatever, like TVL or whatever. So um, even us, we are participating in the same level with other developers. We are rewarded in the same way at the same time. So you know, obviously, then those assets, loots, are going to be yours. I mean, have to be yours because you're the ones who will be enjoying different contents that are developed by not just us, but from others. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we only had the one questions, but that's amazing. I'm glad that we're able to hopefully figure that out because again, like again, you get games out there that, sometimes your your stuff gets wiped and you're like wondering what's going on, like, what's going to happen, and you're hoping that it doesn't, especially if you're getting those items in the game, or you pay for it on, on chain as well. So, it's definitely, something that you take it as like your baby, right? So you don't
Yeah,
want it to go away or lose it for some reason.
and
But
you
if
can even, enhance it and make it into a stronger baby. Uh,
Ooh.
so I mean, there is an in-game function for item enhancement. You will have to use Nestle, the in-game currency or in-game currency token, in order to do so. But there will also be something that you could play around, even without having to, you know, join the actual game client. Yeah.
Is there any last words for you guys? If you guys want to mention, or if there's anything that I didn't address?
Right. So, 15th of May, as we have announced already, is going to be the big day for everyone who's been waiting for MapleStory N. And obviously, keep an eye on every update or every announcement that we are making. Lots of things are, waiting to, be announced as well. Lots of exciting updates, not just around the game, but also around other things that we are doing, including whatever I might have mentioned in the in this podcast. Yeah, so it's really exciting. And May 15th is really going to be the start of the everlasting journey that we are trying to create here. So be part of it. But more than anything, try out the game, and tell us what you want as well. We are very eager to communicate and hear directly from the community. All the feedbacks are highly appreciated, and we would love to integrate whatever the feedbacks that we're getting if it's only making us better. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Dominic. I really appreciate, again, that you took the time out for this episode. And again, we're very excited. Again, May 15th is when we're going to get our hands finally on MapleStory Universe. I'm very excited about it. But without further ado, hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, you can do it. I love you all.